decade in, and times and people change.
But Jesus always stays the same. No matter what the world tells us, the most important things will always be our faith and our family. Hunting is how we share the gospel and bring the lost toward Christ. And all of this starts right at home. So join us as we take the light into the darkness.
You know, it's hard to believe that this is the 15th season of Final Descent Outdoors, and we're so excited to kick off our first episode by introducing to you our now longtime friends, Josh and DeLacy Hodges.
So Josh and I met on November 2nd, 2001. We were both going to the same college, and one of his really good friends was dating my roommate. He was over at our place one night, and he said, "Hey, I've got this friend that you really need to meet." He came over at about 9 p.m. and we literally sat on our couch and talked until 4 in the morning. You know, we just had this instant connection. We talked about everything that night. We were pretty much inseparable ever since. On our 1-year anniversary, he took me out to the boat dock where he had asked me to be his girlfriend, and he proposed. Got married on May 17th, 2003. We've got 3 beautiful girls. They are 13, 15, and 18. Josh and I have had a wonderful marriage. We've traveled, we've been married for almost 22 years. We've been all over the world together. You know, we've had a great life together.
You know, after meeting Josh and DeLacy at church, they had a lot of questions about our ministry and Final Descent Outdoors.
So we met Brad in April, probably about 14 or 15 years ago, I think. We were going to the same church, and Brad taught our Sunday school class for a while. We learned about their ministry as you're going and his Final Descent show, and just got really intrigued with it. And so we ended up coming to one of the banquets one night. I remember we were walking around looking at all of the silent auction things, and there's different trips and things that you can bid on. I thought that the Florida trip looked pretty cool, and so I was talking to Josh about it. He's like, "I don't know, it's kind of far." So when it was time for the auction and the South Africa trip came up and no one was bidding, and Josh was like, "I'm just gonna start bidding just to see if we can get people to start bidding with us." You know, he's like, "I'm not gonna buy it, you know, but I'm just gonna shoot out a number." And I was like, "Okay." And before we knew it, they were like, "And sold." And so we're sitting there going, "What did we just do?" I guess we're going to South Africa.
Every year at our annual ministry banquet, Stanley Patrice Safaris in South Africa donates a safari hunt. And Josh and DeLacy actually started the bidding on that hunt at their first ever banquet that they attended.
It was just truly a trip of a lifetime. I mean, we had so much fun together. Josh hunted, and I followed him every step of the way with my camera and took tons and tons of pictures and got some incredible animals over there that, you know, we got to bring back home. And a couple years later, a man that we met at the banquet again, he ended up buying the South Africa trip, and through happenstance he ended up inviting us to go along with him. So he was like, "Do you want to split the trip with us?" And we were like, "And go back?" Yes. It was amazing. Ended up being one of our favorite places ever.
So tell me about hunt with Stanley.
I honestly could not recommend a better safari. He was incredible. His entire staff was incredible. And you stay in these beautiful, beautiful huts that you just feel like are complete luxury. We had a personal chef, we had a driver, we had a skinner, we had several maids. Everybody was so nice. We just had a great time. Both experiences were completely different from one another, but both were incredible, and we would go back in a heartbeat.
This segment is brought to you by Vortex Optics, backed by the unconditional, unlimited lifetime warranty. To learn more, visit vortexoptics.com. And by these fine sponsors. This segment's brought to you by Buck Blitz Deer Attractant. If you're not using it, you better hope your neighbor isn't. To order yours or to learn more, visit buckblitz.com. And by these fine sponsors.
Life has been incredible. We have a really great marriage. Josh was an engineer at an oil and gas company, perfectly healthy, never sick, rode his Peloton bike every morning.
You know, it seems like life is pretty great for Josh and DeLacy. He's got a great job, he's got a beautiful family. It seems like they're living the American dream. But no one is prepared for a stroke, especially at 41 years old.
April 22nd of 2023, he woke up that morning with a bad headache, complaining kind of all morning that he could see like almost zebra print in his right eye and that it hurt behind his right eye. And you never think, oh, you're 41 and you're perfectly healthy, you know, you must be having a stroke. You know, you just don't jump to that. The next morning we woke up and I got up and I went into the bathroom and he came in right behind me and slammed the door. And I could just tell instantly that something was wrong. He was hanging onto the doorknob, trying not to fall over, and asked him, I said, what is wrong? And he started trying to talk and no real words were coming out. And then I noticed that the left side of his face was drooped and I just knew immediately that he was having a stroke. I couldn't get him to lay down, I couldn't get him to sit, so I just pinned his body in the corner with my whole body and I called 911. And I just remember going into the hospital ER and immediately they came and got us and took us to the ICU, and I knew then that it was bad. It feels like such a fog looking back on it. It almost feels like a bad dream. You know, I remember the doctor coming in and telling us that he had suffered a really severe stroke, that he was probably going to survive. And I just lost it. I remember falling to the floor in that waiting room and just praying so hard. It was a scary 4 hours for sure.
I actually learned about Josh's stroke from our good friend Aaron Napier. And when I first saw it, I just was blown away, because how could a guy who's healthy, how can a guy who is relatively young be going through this situation? And I remember seeing on social media DeLacy's posts, and just there for a long time, we weren't sure that Josh was going to make it at all. And the only thing I knew to do was pray. That was the only thing I could think to do, was just to pray for him, as it was touch and go for a long time. And I just kept thinking about Josh and DeLacy and his daughters, their whole family, and how things that used to be just simple, well, they're not simple anymore.
Going back and seeing him for the first time was heartbreaking. I mean, you never want to see the person that you love with so many tubes and things. That night, you know, he did okay. The next day, he became completely unresponsive. The surgeon came in and he said, his brain is starting to swell. Our only option is to do a craniectomy and remove part of his skull. He said this is kind of our last ditch effort to save his life. The surgeon actually stood with our family in a circle and prayed before he took him back. And I just felt this sense of peace come over me during that time. He was in ICU for 18 days. He was running 104 fevers. He developed multiple infections. He ended up having to get a tracheotomy. He had a PEG tube because he couldn't eat. It was just a very scary time for us. We just really didn't know if he was going to make it at all.
This segment's brought to you by WiseEye Cellular Trail Cameras and their patented hunt control technology. See how WiseEye's changing the game at wiseeyetech.com. And by these fine sponsors. This segment is brought to you by Habit Outdoors. Support the ministry by using promo code FDO15 at checkout. To learn more, visit habitoutdoors.com. And by Fort Scott Munitions with Tumble on Impact technology. Support the ministry by using promo code FDO10 at checkout. Order yours at fortscottmunitions.com. And by these fine sponsors.
Going back and seeing him for the first time was heartbreaking. I mean, you never want to see the person that you love with so many tubes and things. He was in ICU for 18 days. He was running 104 fevers. He developed multiple infections. He ended up having to get a tracheotomy. He had a PEG tube because he couldn't eat. It was just a very, very, very scary time for us. We just really didn't know if he was going to make it at all.
But I ain't no quitter.
So while we were in ICU, his mom and sister came and stayed with me a lot. My mom ended up actually moving into our house and taking care of our girls. It kind of took a village for quite a while. We just felt so much love during that time. So we were gone from home for 2 months, which is a really long time to be gone from our kids. I was just really adamant about wanting to stay with him. I wanted to learn everything that I needed to do to take care of him because I knew that when we got home, I really wanted to be his caregiver.
She has been there nonstop and has done a wonderful job taking care of me and supporting me and doing all the little things, learning how to do all the things the nurses were doing at the hospital, that the therapists were doing at the rehab hospital. Then we got into the outpatient rehab, physical therapy and occupational therapy and even speech therapy well over a year now.
Right after he came to and got off the ventilator, the first thing he started asking for was a snow cone. He asked about it so much, he was kind of known around the hospital as the snow cone guy. On our 20-year anniversary, when he was in the long-term acute care hospital, the speech therapist told him, "You can have a snow cone today." And so our whole family ended up surprising us and going and getting snow cones, and we had a snow cone party in our room for our anniversary.
You know, I was just so moved by DeLacy's devotion to Josh through this whole situation. I mean, she never left his side, and her posts and her prayers and her belief that God was at work and that he was going to do something incredible with Josh. All I can say is it was simply powerful.
When you get married, you know, you have your vows and you say for better or for worse, and sometimes you don't realize how worse the worst can get. You know, we took so much for granted before all of this. That's the hard part to look back at. But it's getting so much better. One thing that Josh and I have to think about, this is all temporary. Everything has improved so much. He is one of the hardest workers I have ever met in my life, as he's just never given up. We've seen God in so many huge ways that, you know, I have never seen in my life. Places that his story has reached, you know, people we've never even met that have reached out, people that are going through similar situations that we've been able to witness to. And we're not done. He's not done. God's not done with him yet. We're excited to see how far he gets with all of this.
Well, I knew I wanted to do something for Josh and DeLacy, and so I decided to ask if he wanted to go on a deer hunt. Now, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but we would make sure we found a way.
Brad reached out to me last year and asked if I thought Josh would be interested in doing a deer hunt. I think that would be incredible. Josh really needs a win.
I was like, oh, that sounds great. It sounds exciting. It's going to be tough. I don't know if I can get around. And
we immediately went to his physical therapist and told them about it. And
walked up and down a lot of stairs at therapy.
He ended up having to use a lot of stairs on the hunt.
If I had to throw you over my shoulder and carry you up the stairs, I was going to get you in.
We were ready to dwarf toss me up there if we needed to.
This segment's brought to you by Buckeye Hunting Blinds. These incredibly priced all-metal hunting blinds are made for the working man. Learn more at buckeyehuntingblinds.com. And by these fine sponsors.
Now it's time for the Full Strut Media Tech Tip of the Week. Strut your stuff!
You know, here at Final Descent Outdoors, one of our longest running partnerships has been with Buck Blitz. And if you've watched Final Descent Outdoors over the years, you've seen how Buck Blitz has helped us take some incredible deer on camera. The Buck Blitz Super Concentrate is super easy to use. You mix it with whatever you're currently feeding, if that's corn or something else, or just pour it straight onto the ground. and this incredible smell are going to draw in deer, help you see bigger deer in front of your trail cameras, and also in daylight while you're hunting. If you're not using Buck Blitz, you better hope your neighbor isn't. So to become a dealer or to order yours, check them out at buckblitz.com.
This segment is brought to you by Kool-Aid Archery. To see a full line of arrows from Kool-Aid, visit KoolAidArchery.com.
And by these fine sponsors. We're crammed, literally like sardines in the blind. But I got my buddy Josh, his wife Lacey's with us here. We're gonna kill a deer. Got about an hour before the feeder goes off. So if you ever killed a whitetail, it's a pretty special hunt. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun night.
Yeah, I'd done quite a bit of pistol shooting, even shot a GSSF match, but
6 months after his stroke.
I hadn't done much rifle shooting and get prepped for the hunt beforehand. In the blind, we had a tripod with like a bog head on it. Brad helped me get up on that, and I was able to kind of pan and tilt with that. Brad let me borrow his nice CVA, so I wanted to make sure I got a good, clean, ethical kill on it. I didn't want to just like wound it and let it run off. A good broadside.
We realized that he couldn't close one of his eyes so that he could see out of the sight.
I'm left side affected because the right half of my brain is pretty much toast.
And so I ended up having to like cover one of his eyes so that he could see out of it.
Popped him pretty good. You can see that in the video that Brad did get.
So we weren't really sure if he actually shot it at first, so we ended up going back to camp and looking over the footage, and based on the footage, it was very obvious that he had hit it.
He never is able to put weight back down on it. I guarantee you he's dead. He's dead, I'm telling you. All right, Josh, tell me what we're doing here, buddy.
We gotta go look for a dead deer.
I'm excited. Here comes the search party. DeLacy here, who's going to become the new eyes of Final Descent Outdoors. There it is. Big old block. Look at this one. Look at this one. Trail goes between the side-by-side and the pickup.
Right here in front of it.
We got to go for a ride up there, buddy. Well, here's the result of the hunt tonight. We got, Josh was able to make really a great shot, but congratulations, buddy, great shot.
Thanks.
And I have to give also credit to the Hawkeye herself, DeLacy here. Want a name for your deer?
Maybe we should call him Radon.
Radon, man. Call him Radon, just like from Mortal Kombat. Lord, we come to you. We thank you for a successful night.
It was something so positive for Josh to get to do. I mean, he literally got his first deer with his very first shot on his first day. We couldn't have asked for better. It couldn't have gone any better for him.
She's a great hunting partner. Her vision is amazing. She has eagle eyes.
We make a good team.
Well, God is always in the eye of the hurricane. And I don't know about you, but the story of Josh and DeLacy and Josh's ability to just overcome and the power of prayer and the devotion of Lacey to her husband is beautiful. I mean, it is Christ-centered. So today, if you would love to encourage Josh and DeLacy, I know they would love to receive your encouragement. Matter of fact, Josh has recently been in the hospital as he continues to battle health issues, recovering from his stroke. And so actually you can go to our website, finaldescentoutdoors.com. You can actually send them through us a encouraging message and let them know that their story blessed you and you were encouraged by it. Josh, keep fighting. You ain't no quitter. We're super proud of you. And DeLacy, thank you so much for being a beautiful picture of Christ in the midst of this situation. God bless you, bless your daughters, bless your family, and I can't wait to go hunting again. Thanks so much for watching today's episode of Final Descent Outdoors. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Moran Taxidermy is the official taxidermist of Final Descent Outdoors. Closed captioning brought to you by Real Avid.
Strut your stuff!